So this project demonstrates data visualization using the D3 JavaScript library. That library it enables us to manipulate data on the go on web pages. So you have a web page which is used to display advanced visualizations from any set of data like that. So before we start, we need to have our data set. So we have a sample data set here which assumes servers from a company here in Uganda. Computing platforms, storage allocated to it, the number of nodes, and the country where it's located. Actually, it's for just servers in different countries, but belonging to a certain company. So we are visualizing the storage and the number of nodes and the location like that, and information to do the computing platform. So after we have our data set, we need to come up with a plan on how we are going to display our data. And here we are adopting this plan. We are saying that our page is going to be presented on an index page, which is going to have a certain kind of header and a footer. So below, this is going to be the footer, and then we are going to have the header here, and then we shall have like a graph one. Sorry, we shall have like a graph two, and then graph three, and some legend here, which should be generated from the data. The legend will be put there. So we have a picture to guide us on what we want to develop, where we want to go. So next is for us to start building this data. So our page here, the first page which we create is the index page. The index page is the one which we are using to generate a layout for this dashboard. So all this, we are calling it our index page, dashboard. So it's the one with this header, footer, and graph one, graph three. It's the one which predetermines where they have to be put. So we start by this document type announces that's an HTML page. For in language English, this is standard. An HTML page is composed of what we call a document object model. In fact, it's the one which D3 manipulates. We are going to use the D3 JavaScript library to manipulate our data, load our data from CSV. This data can come from JSON or from any other source in real time, but it can also come from another source in real time, like a database. It's ingested into pipelines, into some CSV file, and after that, we use our D3 library to ingest that file, read its contents, and visualize those contents. So the D3 manipulates the document object model, which is the basis upon which HTML elements are presented. So these are standard types. We have the announcement of the HTML file, then the head, the title. Style is not standard, but now we need it to style to create some colors to make our visual appealing. So we do that, and then that page also has, we created header here, MTN Uganda Limited and Core Platforms. Monitoring dashboard, we give a dashboard a title, and we put that text inside this div element. Then we create a table here which we shall use to display, to organize our graphs. So we shall start with a bar graph, but before we go there, you can see that we use this approach of separating or decoupling HTML, the presentation layout of the dashboard from its elements for better management. So in this case, if you want to change how the arrangement of these elements, we don't have to change the SVG. We don't have to change the graphs on the SVGs. If we want to make changes in the SVGs, we don't have to change the layout, everything is now is independent. So we start with the bar graph because the one we presented first here, and it's here. And in that bar graph, we are going to work with select and append. We shall draw one by one. So when you come here, you notice that I'm not calling the library, the D3 library for online. Instead, I downloaded it and I have it here. This is the downloaded file. This is to ensure that my files can run very fast. My visuals can load very fast because they don't need a remote resource. Every resource is here. And so I put that comment somewhere. You see here, we can still use the same comment there to say that so this is for anyone who will come and interact with our code. I commented out loading this file from this online resource from this domain dj3.js.org. Instead, I downloaded it. I went there, downloaded it there. That's the resource here. You can see it's you can see its location on my machine, and I'm referencing it here, so it's found inside D3 rib. When you check my machine, you see that we have this D3 rib and we have the JavaScript file there. So we create some styling for this page for the bar graph, and then we start in a D3. We enclose every D3 element inside the script element, every D3 code inside the script element of this JavaScript, because D3 is JavaScript. So we start by instantiating some variables here, which is the width and the height, and these will be the dimensions for the SVG canvas. SVG is vector graphics, serial vector graphics, so meaning we can change them anytime. So if you set the margins and we have for the inner width and the inner height, then next we append, very important, appending is very key. We append the SVG canvas to the body element, which is here, and we use the body tag. So the select method enables us to select tags that we want. Then we append the SVG element to this body tag. We give it attributes with its height, which already specified there, so they are constant. They can't be manipulated any time after the document has loaded. They are 400 and 300. So, and even when it's loading, they can't be manipulated. Constant means does not change. So we append it to a group element, and then we do some transformation, which is which is just setting the margin, the left margin and the top margin. So then at that point we are done with creating the SVG canvas, and we have now bound it to the body. So it's now part of our body. So even if you don't continue, the SVG canvas is there and be seen in the HTML document object mode. I said that document object mode is like a tree, and every HTML element must have it. That's what gives the ability to manipulate it. On top of that tree, we have the HTML. Then next, we have the body and every other element. So the body follows. So this tree can remove an element or put it back or update it by following that document object mode. So we read the CSV data by using the CSV method. Data.csv is the name of our file, which is we have here. We have it here, but right now we are running from here. Sorry. We are running from even here. It will work, but the same project exists there. So we have data.csv there. So if you are loading from JSON, you use the JSON method, and the rest is the same. So we come and so we come here after loading the data. We create the title for that chart. We give it the width and the margin from the top, what it should be. And then we append attributes. Attributes are HTML. Attributes are HTML elements. So we align them in the middle. We align the title in the middle. Then we use the style, which is the method which is used to append CSS elements, to bind CSS elements to S2D3 elements or objects. So we give it font size 12, font family sans serif. We give it a few fields for the color. You can see here, this is green. The weight is if it's bold or regular. So, and then the actual text we are manipulating. So we create the styles for X and Y axes there. And the X axis with the domain, the quick note is the domain, which is the data to use, and then the range where it starts, where the style starts from and where it ends. You can use absolute values like 0, 150, but we use inner width, which we already have up there, so that we can align our data. Our style can be relative to the data that we are manipulating. We do the same for the Y style. The Y style is the vertical style. The X style is the horizontal style. So we create the bars for the graph, and we have bind the data elements there, call the style, bind it to the style, X style, and the Y or X axis and the Y axis style. Then we add the labels to the graph, and that's it. If everything fails there, uh, we can throw an exception here if there is a failure in loading this data. But what we do, we create labels on the bars, we create the X-axis, we draw the style there, we create the Y-axis, and we draw the style there. We have the select all method, another one to note, and the select all method selects all classes. It's now selecting all the classes named bar. And to note also is that we also have another select method, which you can just pass only the element you want to select. If you want to select everything with this, everything for bar in this class, with this class, the dot means a class. This preceding dot is a class. We use the select all method and we bind them to our data elements. So if there are many data elements than the bars we have, we use the enter method. Enter method gives us access to access data elements that are not bound to any bar. Now in this case we don't have any class bar. We are just going to create it. So when we select when we bind this data to bar, all the data here is not bound to anything. So we use the enter method to access that data and then append it to this select element, which are actually the actual bar. So we access the data here. Then at this point we create the rectangular element and bind it there. So we do the same thing. We can also select classes. For example, here we selected the class, which is called the bar label. This class is used to manipulate labels on graphical elements. So whenever you need to add labels, you need to select the responsible. Or whenever you need to manipulate any element, you need to select it. If it's a class element, you select it, and so then you can add additional elements or styles and manipulate it. So we do the same for the pie chart. In the interest of time, my video is already 13 minutes. We do the same for the pie chart. The same document object model structure is created. We create some style there, and then we declare constant variables there. This is the radius for the circle using the math method. This math method is native to JavaScript. Then we append this SVG canvas to the body. We append it to the group. Append is common throughout. It's useful when you're creating appending elements to groups. Then we need, because you find that in the chart, for example, Uganda or Ghana appears more than once. Nigeria also appears more than once. We need to group that data before we calculate the values. So we group by country, and then we come and we sum up what we need to sum up, depending on what you need to visualize. So in this case, not by country. So after we sum up, for example, after we group all the elements where Uganda appears, we sum up these values and save them in these variables. Data by country and nodes by country. Then we create a pie chart by using apps. So we call them pie chart method. We call different methods depending on what you want to do. For example, when you wanted to create the apps, the stairs, the axis stair, we called the stair band method. When you wanted to create the y-axis stair, we call the stair linear method. So it depends on what you want to do. There are different methods available for that. So for the pie chart, we have the pie method, which is to instantiate to announce the pie chart. Then we generate the apps. The apps are these round feeders like blue, orange, green. They are the ones upon which we overlay data. The app generator, we put the radius there. So this radius, just a moment. So from there, we add paths. Paths are used to link us to data. So once we select the paths here, which do not exist, we bind it to apps, but the paths don't exist. So we use the enter method to access those paths, create them, and then bind those apps there. We select everything to do with the text. Now we add the labels to the pie chart. We use the select all method of elements labeled text. Then we come and we create our because they still don't exist, we can't bind them here. We bind them here, but they don't exist, so we create them here. Do some transformation here. We center them in the middle, and font family sensitive. We give them the font size. We say let them be weight, and then the text which creates those labels is created from data.nodes. If there is an error, we run error. So for every graph, we have a description. For example, the pie chart shows number of servers. This is what we have here. We have the same for the bar graph. We end with that description, and we also have the same for the histogram here. So we use the same approach for the histogram. We create the document of HTML, do some styling, instantiate the variables, the dimensions for the SVG canvas. We bind it to the body. Then we come and we load our data here. We create the title for the histogram with these particular attributes. Then we create the axis chair, the horizontal and the vertical axis. We use the star linear methods for the two axes. Then for the two stairs, those are stairs. Then we create the axis and we bind the stair. We create the y-axis and we bind the stair, the y-axis stair there. We create the bars here by using the select all method. Here we are creating some space between bars, and then we subtract that, so that we subtract that some pixels here, so that we compensate for the space we created there. We give it a fill, which is the color, and then if there is a problem, we throw that error. So that's it.